Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry about that. In true fashion, the internet. So yeah, that's the only explanation you get for that one. But today on Tea with Taylor, we're talking about fostering and adopting. Again, I'm gonna have a special friend come on in and join me. My new friend, which is the reason for the season, come on in, and I'll find us on Facebook while they introduce themselves.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hello
All right,
again.
take two. Ha.
All right.
Let's find us on Facebook. Guys, thanks for watching. And while I do that, you can introduce yourself.
Right.
So, who you are, what you do, and your pronouns.
All right. I'm Keisha. My name is Keisha Foster, which is just hilarious for this.
This really, that's
To be honest.
it's like too perfect.
To be honest, yeah. My pronouns are she, her. What I do, so I have two completely different things that I have done. One of them is what's going to be relevant to this conversation, and one of them is what I do now. So what I used to do was work in group homes for kids in DC way of care, which is the super relevant thing here. Now I'm a realtor, which has nothing to do with this.
No, I love that though.
But,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm bringing, queer realty out here.
Oh, yes.
There's not enough of us being loud and proud.
Oh, yes. No, there really isn't.
There really isn't.
I have a really good friend in the community here in Providence who was on my show last season, who's a new realtor, and they have a show called with In Drag.
Nice.
And it's a really amazing show. They just gab on and on. I'm talking about you, Miss Ladiva Jones, if you're watching.
Gotcha. Okay, I was like, I need to know.
Yeah, no, I'll show you their page a little later, but they're new into being a realtor, and from what I hear, they're good at it. Have you heard of their best friend Haley Starr, who's also a prominent drag queen? Oh yes, okay. So Haley Starr is a realtor who got Ladiva into it.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've heard of them, but I had no idea that the two of them were realtors. So.
Oh yes. I'm gonna have Haley at some point. My pastor is watching. He says, "Hey, Pastor Jody, thanks for watching." So before we get into our chat topic today, and cheers to us. I see you got your tea. Cheers to us, season 5. Thanks for being here. Before we get into our chat topic, we have some hot topics to get into.
Let's do it.
This is where the real tea is.
All right.
Oh yeah. So you guys watch along, join in if you know these hot topics. I like to bring all the fun, good ones out first, and then the hard-hitting ones a little bit later on, just to kind of gauge your perspective.
All right.
So you notice something hard-hitting coming a little bit later. Just FYI. Adelmore is watching. Hi, Addie. So first and foremost, I don't know if you watch, but RuPaul's Drag Race.
I have not been watching the most recent season.
Me either. It drives me crazy because it's over now.
Yeah, I'm conflicted because that's the whole thing about Drag Race is that there's all these amazing drag queens that you want to see and that are just incredible and you love to watch them, but then you're like,
yeah, I know. He's a little problematic right now. I mean, he always has been, but he's the thing that people say, which grinds my gears a little bit, but it's somewhat true. He is a queen of a different age. And unfortunately those habits and those things die hard. Jaden's watching. Hi, happy Friday. Jaden and AJ, my friends Jaden and AJ just welcomed in their first child, baby Oasis. Oh, happy for you. Congratulations for that. They're the most adorable couple. I love them. I can't wait to see you guys. I have some gifts for the bebe, of course. So, we'll talk. But yeah, so it's the newest season is over. I saw one episode, the intro. There's just so many things going on right now with the RuPaul world. It's like RuPaul this, RuPaul that, RuPaul Europe. Geez, I can't keep up. So I just opted out. I was like, no. But Blue Hydrangea and Monet Exchange were the top 2, if you know those queens. And a lot of people were talking about it. They were going crazy on Twitter and Instagram about it. And Blue Hydrangea was the winner. So congratulations to Blue Hydrangea. We're looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with that. Jaden said, thank you so much. We're loving every second with Baby Oasis. I bet you are.
That's such a good name.
I bet you are. Right? I forget the middle name. What was the middle name again, Jaden? Oasis... ... It was really pretty. I'm so proud of you guys. I can't even say it enough. But yeah, congratulations, Blue Hydrangea. Moving on a little bit. So we talked about... Dips Foster said, spoilers, JK. I know, sorry guys. I mean, honestly, if you guys haven't seen it like I haven't, then I'm sure that you will probably see it at some point, and you'll at least have a little foresight now. Just a little bit. You can kind of judge them and critique them from the beginning. Were they worth the crown? It's Oasis Indigo.
Nice.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's a very good one.
Gosh, I know you guys are gonna raise that child so radical. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Diz Foster is my wife.
Oh, hi, Diz Foster. Okay, we're just getting into that a little bit. Oh, love that. We love to be loved, and it seems that you are a loved person. So yeah. Okay, so you know the dating app Tinder, right? We all know that. I was talking about the Tinder swindle. Did you see that on Netflix?
I have not.
Oh my gosh! Don't. If you want to watch it. Just know it's gonna make you angry.
All right.
But in light of that news, Tinder is creating this thing where they are making background checks available as part of the software that they already have.
Honestly, good.
Like, yeah, if you agree to go on a date with someone, they allow you the option of a background check. And if y'all seen the Tinder swindler, sheesh, is it important, especially in these times. This man swindled a bunch of women out of thousands and thousands of dollars repeatedly. And so things like this could be avoided with little
with background.
Yeah, just and that way it kind of takes a little bit of the liability off of the company Tinder as well. I think that's why they're doing it. I hope that's why they're doing it. Because, one court precedence and that's it. It's literally all it takes. So we'll see. We'll see if that helps. And I hope whoever's out there dating, be careful, be safe. Because online dating is not fun, for one. Not for me, at least. And anyways. Moving forward, this person I've talked about a lot. But Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. They're pairing together for the sequel to I Am Legend. Did you hear about this?
I have.
Oh my gosh. Are you excited?
I am. I saw I Am Legend, like the original a long ass time ago, and I don't remember that much about it.
No.
So I'm
okay, so you know what?
So I can't be like, oh yeah.
No, it gives you that time to like rewatch it. Like anytime someone comes out with a sequel for something, I do that. I go back and like watch the original. It's like fresh. But I Am Legend was one of those ones that really stuck with me, because it was the viral contagion theme. You know how different movies have different themes, and that viral contagion has been quite prevalent as of recent, and then people turning into zombies and things like that. So yeah, I was really into it. It's kind of like stuck in there now. But the idea of Michael B. Jordan doing it with him, I'm excited.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a dynamic duo, I think. And they're both actually producers. Oh. They're both listed as producers on
awesome.
that. Yeah. So look out for I Am Legend 2 coming out soon. I don't remember when. I don't know. We'll see it. But something that I also found pretty hilarious this week. Oh man, I don't know if you heard about this, but McDonald's is actually getting sued.
I did not. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, right. Who? McDonald's? What? Never heard of her. But McDonald's.
I thought you said McDonald. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I know who
McDonald's. McDonald's is getting sued. Have y'all heard about this?
No.
McDonald's is getting sued by the company that is responsible for machine repairs for the ice cream machine.
I have heard about this.
Yeah, what?
That's the
I was like,
struggle.
The unending struggle, the infamous ice cream machine is broken. Oh my gosh. So these people are finally having some sort of accountability, it seems. But this suit is a $900 million suit. Yeah, the company is called The Hill, and I think it's out of Delaware, and they are responsible for the repairs, and they're saying that it's a defamation of the company's character, so to speak, because they continually say that the ice cream machine is broke, whether we know if it is or not. Nova's commenting saying, "OMG, this is both crazy and hilarious." Yeah. It really is though, because this is how long has McDonald's even been around?
A long
time. And ever since, I want to say, it feels like ever since like the early 2000s, the ice cream machines have been down. Like, when is it not down? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I literally had someone physically tell me that used to work at McDonald's that like, oh, we just didn't want to clean it. Or like, oh, we just didn't want to pack it. Or like, whatever. And then they have these people from the company The Hill come and they come and repair the ice cream machine for it to just continually be down. Yeah. So, I'm not mad. It's a 133-page court filing.
That is impressive. Yeah, my daughter works at McDonald's as of recently. So
yeah. So get the scoop on the ice cream machine.
She knows all about the ice cream machine.
The scoop on the ice cream machine. Get it? Kay Bagley says, "My two angels." Hi, Kay. Aw, we love Kay. Oh, you're so sweet. I can't wait to have. Oh, wow. Yeah. That must have been interesting.
It was.
They are creative AF, so I'm sure you had a lot of projects in that.
I love them, honestly.
Kay, I think Kay's on next week. I'm excited for that.
I'm excited.
Me and Kay, we literally, only ever get to say hi and bye, and it drives me crazy. And then I'll like stalk their lives on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and I'm like, oh, cool, oh, okay, nice. So like this will be an interesting conversation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Vena Darling is watching. Thanks for watching, Vena. Vena says, the one on the Pawtucket side of Mineral Spring always has ice cream.
I'm still not overthinking that you said Nick Donald and making myself a whole asshole.
Nick Donald, I love that. No, Vena says the one in Pawtucket on Mineral Spring always has the ice cream machine. I'm going to challenge that, y'all. Y'all go to the McDonald's on Mineral Spring, y'all let me know. Because, listen, the ice cream machine's been down since the 90s. Who are we kidding? Like, what? Anyways, so another thing that I wanted to share that actually, unfortunately, is not as great and not as hilarious, is this whole thing that's going on in Florida. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious, like, woosah. Hold on, let me take a sip of my drink real quick, but you've heard of this now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have.
So, for y'all who don't know, Florida has been going crazy, y'all. It's a lot of anti-LGBTQ legislation being thrown around like it's water. It's like, it's kind of dizzying, to be honest. And I'm not the most political person, but I like to stay abreast on things. But it just seems like quite the attack on the queer community.
Yeah.
Like, out of nowhere, not out of nowhere because we've always had this, but it seems like almost out of nowhere, just a spurt of so much like queer bashing in the political front. With the new "Don't Say Gay" rule bill that's being passed, it's a part of the Parental Rights and Education proposal that was proposed on February 18th. For you who don't know, and this started in Florida. Actually, I read about a lot of students around different areas of Florida staging walkouts during school hours. Yeah, as they should.
Yeah.
And this bill is essentially saying that we aren't allowing students, and if you know this, stop me please, for sure, allowing kids of a certain age not allowed to reveal their how do you say that? Not allowed their identity, exactly. And last week we talked about core identity, and it was such a good conversation. And not being allowed to reveal that is, I think, a huge prehistoric step back. It's
so shameful too. It's like by saying that, it's like you make people feel like there's something wrong with it that there isn't.
And then also, and kind of the censorship of it all. I wonder what's the legality that makes this censorship okay all of a sudden, because I think especially now in the past 2-3 years, we've been hitting it hard, activists and coming together, stating our case and saying what we need and what we want. And, queer rights has always been a huge conversation, but now it feels like an attack on that. And, I mean, how do you feel about that?
It just feels like it's taking back ground that we worked really hard to make, honestly. Like, Florida has just been really kind of driving me crazy because I feel like the government of Florida has really just gotten too much power with showing that they can just ignore all the mask stuff. And now they're like, oh, we can do whatever. And it really sucks because I feel like this is being used for political reasons. And I don't feel like the kids in the schools are actually honestly, high schoolers are always pretty chill with each other in terms of like sexuality and stuff. Not always, like there's a lot of people who aren't, but like I don't think that the high schoolers are really the ones who are going, we don't want people to be revealing this. We don't want them to do it.
What is it benefiting the students? Like you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it should be about the students. And clearly they're not happy about it. And Vena is also saying that it's also barring teachers from speaking about LGBTQI people in history, queer identity, and health classes, etc. Which is so true, because I also read about them trying to ban gender identity books in all libraries, and actually finding teachers, even up to the point of prison time, librarians who don't remove those things from libraries.
Yeah, that's
it's creating ignorance, if you ask me. Why? What is this benefiting the children or the students? I don't understand where we're going with this.
Political points.
Yeah, unnecessary political points. And another thing in Florida, a Fort Lauderdale police chief, actually, the first gay police chief that they know of, actually recently got fired after being only promoted for 6 weeks, got fired because he had a minority first, in air quotes, minority first mindset about hiring, where he hired folks more so minority.
Oh no!
Oh right! Oh no!
We can't undo years and years and years of only hiring white men.
Jesus! Lord forgive me, like, but oh my God, how stupid can you get? I just don't understand. And like, this man has been in this position for 6 weeks. Clearly, he has shown accolades to reach the point of police chief, and then because of something, a mindset of opposite of whoever, you fire him. Like, yeah.
It feels like the whole Supreme Court justice pick all over again, where people were like, I can't believe that you're ruling out everyone except for black women.
Oh no.
Scandal. Because we know that black women have clearly been in the running for so many things this whole time.
Oh gosh. No. And you know what? It's exposing more and more the mindset of the people in power. And that is frightening, but also important to moving forward with current events and like moving forward with political agendas and things of that nature, and even being more aware of who we're like electing and who we're backing, because a lot of times it's not the package we signed up for. Let's just say that. So, and that this whole thing is just actually insane. The don't say gay bill, insane. I don't even know where to begin with that one.
That one is that's pretty big.
And I see a lot of people, you know, in support that are in support of like rallies and things of that nature that are coming forward too. So look, I'm gonna look out for that. If you guys know that information, please post it, because I think it's important that we let our voices be heard, and I'll gladly attend. Another thing with that, unfortunately, too, and our game later is going to be Disney related, but Disney was one of the biggest donors to that Don't Say Gay bill, and that surprised the crap out of me. It made me a little angry, but wow, Disney, and that's because they have no like prejudice on who they donate to. Which is, people are calling out Disney for like saying, hey, listen, how about you fine tune it a little bit here, as a huge company who supports like millions of different people. You might want to honestly, pay attention to who you're donating to.
I think that like people would be pretty upset if they had Disney donating to some other organizations that supported some other like, you know, stuff that people were offended by. So
Diz Foster is commenting saying the most banned book in the country right now is called George, and it's about a trans girl. It's been the most banned book in the U.S. schools for 3 years now. Wow. Okay, I don't know that book.
I don't either, but apparently Diz does.
Well, okay. Thank you for that. I did not know that. That's quite unfortunate and, again, silly. I don't understand, but okay. You know, what are we going to do? Well, there's a lot we can do. Don't get me wrong. But, lastly in the hot topics, which will probably bring us, like, gently into our chat topic, Elon Musk and Grimes. Did you hear about that?
I haven't.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk is constantly in the hot topips.
Yeah, usually I'm like afraid about where this is gonna go.
No, he's usually not. It's usually not a good thing, but this is, I guess, is a good thing. Whatever, fine. They secretly, as they said in the ad, secretly welcomes their second child, a baby girl named Taylor Hill. I was like, oh, another Taylor in the world. Great, can't be bad. But yeah, I didn't even know Elon Musk and Grimes were together.
Yeah, I thought that they had split up, and
I had no idea. I saw that and I was like, wait, second child? They're still a thing?
Oh yeah.
What?
Apparently.
When did this happen? I never see them together.
Yeah. I thought that she made like a whole point of leaving and being like,
yeah, there was a song about it, if I'm not mistaken.
So, I don't know what happened there. Clearly I do know what happened there, because you know.
Right, because they're welcome a child. Yep. Yeah. Well, congratulations, Elon Musk and Grimes.
If you're watching this now.
I don't. God, yeah, right. I mean, hey, a boy can dream. But also, another person that stood out in baby news this week is a gospel singer named Tasha Cobbs. I don't know if you know Tasha Cobbs, but I know Tasha Cobbs. And Pastor, if you're watching, you know, he has a little bit of a grudge against Tasha Cobbs because she speaks against the LGBT community.
Gotcha.
But, you know, we love her. She's a beautiful soul. She's a Christian woman. And her husband have actually welcomed a adopted baby boy, baby Asher. And after Tasha Cobbs, who's 40 years old, has been struggling with in vitro and obviously infertility, having her own child. And I think it's been 2 months now, and baby Asher is 6 months old. And so they're saying that they're like extremely happy. And baby Asher is extremely happy, and they're just, you know, over the moon. They gave an exclusive interview with People, And that's something that I want to, pick your brain about a little bit later with infertility and in vitro and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations to Sasha Cobbs and Kenneth Leonard is her husband's name. However you create your family is how you create your family, and we just love to see it. Like I said, we love to see love. We love to be loved. But I guess that's the end of our hot topics for today. And so we have 2 games today, guys, and also a cute little surprise. Today we're going to do How Do You Do? And if you guys have watched Tale, you know I love this game. My do's are not that great, but we'll work with it. So we're gonna do How Do You Do, which is basically I'm gonna sing a song, but I'm going to get you to guess it with only do's. And the second game I'm calling Best Case Scenario. And that's a little bit more complicated, but we'll get into it at the end of the show. It's a new game that I'm trying on. It's my Cinderella slipper, if you will. But before that, we have an extra special new friend. What did he say? Oh, applause. We're going to bring our extra special guest in now and have them introduce themselves. Hello, lovely. How are you today?
Good.
Just hanging out in the back, listening to us cackle. It's great. So why don't you introduce yourselves in the same manner to all the viewers? Tell them who you are, what you do, what you like to do, essentially. I like to say what your purpose, but I don't want to dig too deep. But what you do and your pronouns.
I'm Kiara Foster, which is also very funny. I go to high school when I have a job and
Nice. Nice.
at the place that's getting sued.
Oh, at McDonald's. Look at that. Oh, full circle.
Which I didn't know about.
I know. Well, I know. I'm like, don't tell them which one. Gosh, they're going to be hounding you for ice cream now. Sheesh.
And I literally just got better. I literally just became like a master at making their ice cream.
Nice. Okay, that's amazing. So what is your relationship for the viewers? What's your relationship? What either of you take it away?
I'm the mother, obviously.
Clearly.
That's what people think sometimes.
No, are you
Okay.
serious?
I need to.
Oh no!
After you tell a story, I gotta tell
You need,
a
you need to tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you need
hang
to tell a
on.
story. Tell a story.
Also, my
Tell a
pronouns
story.
are she/her.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go with the trip one, the DC trip one.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right. Let us.
One, so.
All right.
I like how you guys have these queued up. I love this.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
I'm ready.
So when Kiara was in middle school, she went on a class trip to Washington D.C. and there was like this whole info session that we all went to, like the kids and the parents and stuff. And so we're like sitting in the auditorium and everything, and they've got like the slides up, and they're doing their little presentation, and they have somebody come around with luggage tags for the suitcases, and she's giving out luggage tags to the students. And
you were just trying to be helpful.
And she hands me a luggage tag, and I'm like, ma'am, at the time, I'm like, ma'am, I'm 28 years old.
You're like, I'm the adult here.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's just fine. So that was a fun one. Middle school at 28,
oh my
and I
gosh,
was like,
middle school.
and she's of course thought it was
my mom is 5 feet, so I
cat
quickly grew taller than her too. So a lot of people were like, sister, no, aunt, cousin, anything but mom. So yeah, and she loved it. She's like, I'm the young mom. I was like, ugh, mom, go away.
Right.
What was your story?
My story is like, okay, so we went to the movie theaters, and Keisha like usually gets carded when we go for like rated R movies or something.
Oh yes.
This was also.
Oh my God! Wait, you get carded?
Yep.
Oh my God!
But this was also around the time I was like in middle school too.
No.
And so I wanted to like test something between us. So I went up to the stand to see if I would get carded or not, and I didn't. So then I had Keisha go up, and she got carded. So it was just.
Don't you love that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you could just say what my mom used to say. Just say, I'm the young mom. It's fine. Yeah, that'll work for at least another 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You got that right in the bag. So you should be
Maybe a
so
little
lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a
Yeah, it
little
works
longer. I wish we could all be so lucky, you know? I'm only 22, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just kidding, I'm not. But alright, we're gonna play How Do You Do, guys? And let's see how my do's are doing today. Oh boy. You ready for this, Kara?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go. Alright, How Do You Do? If you guys know the song, you can comment in the comments, but you guys don't look. Because they're quick sometimes. They're super quick. Alright, ready? Ready? Here we go. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Gosh, I think you know what it is.
No, I totally do. I just don't remember
it's
the
Disney
name.
themed, by the way, guys.
I don't
yeah,
remember
that
the
might
name.
help.
It's about being on my way. I can go the distance.
Yeah,
I
that. Go the distance.
No.
No, Hercules.
Yeah.
Yes. I like how you knew all the words. You're like, wait, hold on.
No, I don't know which one of these is the name.
I will do that sometimes. I'll sing the entire song until I figure out the name of it because I don't know the name.
Until you get it.
There's magic happening here. Come on, Hercules. Come, Beta. You know what? All right. I like to think I'm the queer Hercules of the community, but whatever. It's fine. That stays here. All right, this one I've been like doing on my way to work every day this week anyway. So here we go.
You're ready.
Do 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 do.
Oh.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Is it
Do
We
do
Don't Talk
do
About
do.
Bruno?
Yes, we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
Pretty sure that was Isabella's part.
Literally, yeah. Wow, my dudes are on point today, huh? No, literally, it comes on the radio sometimes on my
It's
way
like
to work.
every other
And
TikTok
I'm just
video.
like jamming hard. I'm like, listen, I know I can't. Oh, okay, says you are queer, Hercules. We have seen your body. Oh, why? Just this thing, I don't know what you're talking about. All right. This one I think is gonna be really easy because, But here we go. Do 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 do
Let it
do
go.
do. Yeah. Wow, you're on that one. All right, let it go. In case you guys didn't even hear that one because it was so quick. All right. I got one more. Wait, yeah, one more because I can count. I promise. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Is
Do
it
do
a
do
whole
do
world?
do do. Yes! Wow, you were ready for this today. I said it was Disney themed, and she said, "Bet." Got you. I got you.
But we'll go with that.
All right. Well, that was How Do You Do. Thank you. You're clearly the winner of that one. So but we're going to get into our chat topic now. And again, feel free to elaborate as much or as little as you'd like. Sometimes we know that certain things can be a little bit sensitive or a little bit much for us in the moment. So we understand that here in Tea with Taylor. And so we're going to get into our chat topic, which is fostering and adoption. And if you guys have any interest in that, or if you're wondering how, I'll give you the chance later to reach out and leave some of the resources in the comments for everyone. But let's start off with a stat that I found because I love numbers and numbers love me and they scream my name sometimes. But more than 60% of foster kids spend 2 to 5 years before getting adopted.
Yeah.
And I found that to be really interesting. And 20% in legality forms, 20% of those kids actually never get adopted and just age out of the system. And so I found that to be very telling on how important and how pertinent it is for us to talk about things like this and how to make this conversation accessible. So in a nutshell, I'll have you go in first and just explain to me what is adoption, or what is fostering, I should say.
So fostering, what it is supposed to be, is having a kid with you for ideally a shortish amount of time. Fostering is supposed to be kind of like a bridge in a way.
Okay.
There's like foster to adopt, and that's like a kind of its own specific thing, and sometimes people think that that's the whole thing and that it's always foster to adopt. but it shouldn't be, because a lot of fostering situations are not, necessarily anything permanent. It's that, like, the kid is acting up in some way and the parents don't know how to support it, or, the parents are having some troubles of their own and they need to get their own stuff figured out. So, ideally, we shouldn't in every fostering situation be going, yes, the goal of this is to place them with somebody else.
Okay.
So fostering, by and large, should be returning the kids back, as long as that is a safe thing for them to do. It's
okay, so in my idea of it all, essentially, I think I was right. I wrote active adoption is essentially fostering. So, like, you're actively adopting or giving children or these kids a home, which is fostering, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a distinction, because fostering is generally, like, when you're talking about fostering, it's not supposed to be necessarily a permanent thing. It's supposed to be more kind of like helping heal the situation a little bit, as opposed to just, this is too bad. Like, there's a lot of situations where the kids just need to be removed. There's no fixing it. There's no, amount of resources that'll help. But really the goal should be to provide as many resources as possible to get the families who want to be back together and who can safely be back together. And the reason I started with saying this is what it should be is because a lot of the time that's not how it ends up. And a lot of the time what happens practically with fostering is that a kid will end up in DCYF care. Yeah. They'll end up in a foster family, and then the resources won't be put into the kid's, original family as much. The resources go to the foster family. They're the ones that get the money. They're the ones that get all of the different supports. And a lot of the time, the kid's original family really doesn't get that support. And so it becomes a situation where, how is this parent ever going to be able to get the kid back if part of the issue is, financial instability, and the foster parents are getting money to help take care of the kid, but, like, the original family is not. Yeah. Right. So a lot of the time what it ends up becoming is, we're going to have this be a temporary thing, but then they don't actually provide the resources that they need to make it a temporary thing, and then it becomes a permanent thing. And
and to take into account the child as well, which is why I'm glad Kiara is here to give us that POV, that point of view. But when I want to hear from you so shortly, but there is a need for it. What do you think is what would you say is the direct need for fostering and adoption?
Honestly, a lot of the need for fostering, a lot of this is stuff that I've seen through work. So when I worked in the group homes, we took a lot of kids who were, like, emergency placements. So something would very suddenly happen, and DCYF would go, we don't know what to do with them right now. Here you go. So a lot of the time it would be, more typical stuff, like they'd been on the run for a while and they got picked up and needed a place to go, or like they went to court, family court, and they got removed there. But sometimes it was literally things like, we had a kid come to us once before because her guardian, like, got in an accident and ended up in the hospital, and there was nobody else to take care of her. That's not a situation that should end in adoption. There's been situations where, they, like, the kid ran away and was someplace that they weren't supposed to be, and they needed to go back to, like, home and everything, and that doesn't need to necessarily end in adoption. It's all of these, like, different circumstances. Or, like, one kid who we had, her parents, one of them went to jail, and so we needed to kind of hold on to her.
And I've heard that. I've heard that situation as well. Yeah.
So a lot of the times, like, those are kind of the more temporary things where fostering does not need to be longer. Adoption really should only be if you cannot possibly, like, reunify, if there's no safe way to do it, if the kid does not want to go back.
So a term that I came upon in like my research when I came upon this topic was open adoptions. And so I feel like that's kind of what you're getting at. Like, one of the ways that adoption works is kind of like being a part of that child's life, but also I think at that stage they're acknowledging being fully adopted by another family, correct?
Yeah, open adoption is common a lot of the times when it happens a lot when the kid hasn't been in DCYF care. It happens a lot with babies. Okay, gotcha. Like, it's not just babies. It happens with, older kids as well, but it'll happen where the person is agreeing to give the kid up and goes, I can't support this kid, but I do want to be involved in their life. Right. So open adoption, in my opinion, especially when you have slightly older kids, is really good. Like, if you have a situation where they can't go home to their parents for some reason, but the parents really, I've seen this a lot, the parents really love them. They can't take care of them. They, have an addiction that they can't straighten out. They have a lot of poverty that they can't overcome. They're not in a place where they can provide for this kid, but everybody still loves each other. So, like, ideally, if something like that is going to happen, if there is going to be an adoption, ideally it would be everybody involved and not just taking the family who this kid loves and going.
That's what I imagine would be the best case scenario as well. I'm like, I didn't know that all adoptions weren't open adoptions.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them where it's like literally, you know, the kid can't even find out anything about their parents until they're 18. Like, they'll have it sealed so the kids can't learn anything.
That seems slightly cruel.
Yeah.
My aunt is watching, by the way, on TICU. I love you as well. Thank you for watching. My stepmother is actually one of my biggest advocates in life, and she works with DCYF in New Jersey, and she's worked for them for years and years. So that was the kind of like my little window into that world and what goes on, and she was always on call, and she would do house visits and things like that along those lines. So that was my little window into that, but I really, again, don't know much about it except for what the little bit of research that I did for this. And so I'm glad to hear you all talk about it. And another stat that I came across was 140,000 kids a year in the U.S. are adopted. And 125 U.S. families with children have adopted. So we know that families with already birthed children or whatever, and I don't like that. I don't like the term birth child or, you know, my child. I don't, it just feels weird. It feels weird to say that. I just like, I don't know. But if I were to be a foster parent or an adopted parent, I don't know if I would call my child my adopted parent or like, I just don't like that term. But for sake of study, families with biological children are actually 1 in 25 in the U.S. are adopting children or fostering children as well. And that's where Miss Kiara comes into the conversation. Yeah. So I want to hear a little bit from you about your experience in the, you know, it being an adopted child, or, you know, however much of your story you want to share with us. Yeah, no, I got the privilege of hearing a little bit from you about your story, and yeah, you know, however much you want to share. What's one takeaway that you've learned from being an adopted child? Okay, that's fair. There's a lot to learn. Trust me.
I've technically been adopted twice now.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
One was when I was 2 from Russia.
Ah. Okay. All right.
And the other one being when I was 16.
Okay. Oh, and that's current.
2021.
Oh, nice. That's that's beautiful. And so you found each other, so to speak. I love that. Yeah, but I don't really have I don't really know, you know, the inner workings of it all, the ins and outs. But from what I understand, a lot of people have a lot of difficulties when it comes to becoming an adoptive parent or becoming a foster parent too. How do you elaborate on that a little bit for me? Because I know that it's a lengthy process for one.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. So for us, we became licensed foster parents first. I believe in Rhode Island, I should know this because I took these classes, but it was a couple of years ago. Diz, if you're here, you can jump in on this one.
Oh, yes, Diz, come on.
But I believe you have to be a licensed foster parent for either 6 months or a year to adopt somebody from DCYF care, because you have to actually have that relationship with the kid. It's different in a lot of different situations. And
there's something about you have to prove that you have a home and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. So
So we had to do first we had to do 10 weeks of classes that were specifically just about this. Yeah. We also there was homework. There were assignments.
What? Wow.
Essays.
They are serious essays?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, not for you, right? No. That's just okay, God.
Yeah. No,
my goodness.
Literally, so one of the things that Diz and I had to fill out every time that we relicense and everything, and when we got our license initially, was that basically, so DCYF works with some different partner agencies that do this kind of work. So Kiara, when we met her, that's a lie. When we started fostering her, she was kind of working with an agency called NAFI.
Okay.
So NAFI and DCYF worked together. So NAFI actually did a whole bunch of our licensing. We had somebody there who handles all the licensing stuff, and she was great. So yeah, one of the things that we had from NAFI is we had this giant packet of stuff that Diz and I had to fill out on ourselves.
We
And
love
it wasn't
giant
just,
packets. Goodness
oh my god,
gracious.
it literally, it wasn't even, like, when I tell you about how invasive this was, it was literally like, what are some problems that you had with your father when you were growing up?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
How do you feel that your parents treated you as opposed to your siblings? What are some things that you learned about parenting from your parents?
What?
Have you experienced sexual violence before? Like, it's like really, they get in. I see Diz commented something.
Packet is putting it lightly,
Yeah.
Diz says.
Yeah, it's really, like, it's literally, we had to work on it over the course of several weeks because we couldn't just sit down and do the whole thing. Because not only was it just like a lot of stuff, it was just like a therapy session.
My anxiety would be through the roof.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't think I would ever be able to sit down and do that.
It was a lot. So there's that, and then we had to have DCYF come out and do like safety visits to the home. So they had to do their own safety inspection, and then the person from NAFI has to come out and do safety visits to the home. They had to check a whole bunch of stuff about the home to make sure it was even acceptable. Like there's like, they're very specific about like locks on the doors to bedrooms. You like, I don't remember specifically what it is, but they either like can't have locks at all, or it has to be able to be unlocked from the inside. Because it's like the goal is to make sure you can't lock a kid in the room and keep them there. But there's
I see.
Yeah,
we don't want a room situation.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So there's a bunch of stuff like that, and then another one which like, if any of my housemates are watching, bless you. Everybody in the house that's over the age of 18 has to get background checks and fingerprints done.
Gosh, are you serious?
Every time that we relicense. So I've routinely been like, hey, can you all come get fingerprints?
I need your fingerprints.
And they do it.
Gosh.
Turn 18 and older.
I mean, if we actively were taking in another foster kid, then probably.
So everyone in the household has to be 18 or over?
Well, in order to get background checks done. They can be younger, but like, it's just the kids have a lot less that they need to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's quite a lengthy process.
I barely want to ask my roommates or neighbors for sugar, let alone fingerprints. Goodness gracious.
Oh, and
this said very thorough.
Yeah. And like, I just remember the other part of it. So they had us basically submit forms to our doctors and also our psychiatrists. Having
my gosh, wow.
Like, they had to send letters to DCYF to vouch that we were mentally and physically capable of taking care of children. Like, they asked for references.
You
like,
know what? I'm not mad at that one.
Yeah, no.
I'm not mad.
They go all in. They make you break down every single cent of your income. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, mental health is super big one. That's really important. If you are not mentally capable, then we wouldn't want you handling another human being who also may have some mental health issues, and we all do at some extreme or the other. But that's surprising to me that they go that deep into detail.
Yeah, they do. And yet still we end up getting people who shouldn't be foster parents.
Right. That's why I'm like, whoa, because sometimes you hear horror stories about it, and getting into horror stories, unfortunately. So again, like I said, I really don't know the inner workings. Oh, okay, yes. I don't know the inner workings of it all, but what's your horror story?
We don't want to talk about that.
Oh, that's for after. Okay, that's for after. I was like, wait. So yeah, I don't really know the inner workings of it all, but I hear also a lot of things when it comes into the fostering or the adoption industry, like the ins and outs of it. It's again, it's really thorough, but for good reason, apparently. Do you think that all that is like the good outweighs the bad, essentially?
It kind of depends, because like you mentioned the adoption industry, and you like set off something on me you don't even know.
Right? No, because it set something up in my head too.
Yeah. So a lot of adoption like agencies handle things differently. So like the amount of work that we had to do was because it was DCYF, so they have like really extensive stuff. But there's other agencies that have much smaller requirements, and like there's ways to privately adopt kids, not from DCYF care, where you don't have to go through all of this, and it's much simpler.
So not to cut you off, but Ken Medlin is watching, and thank you for watching. Also had a really good question. Can you not be the foster child's biological parent?
You could potentially. It would have to be like, the only reason that I can see where that would be happening is if like you were the non-custodial parent. Maybe.
Gotcha. Okay.
But generally, if it's a matter of like the parents are separated or whatever, like you won't need to be a foster parent.
Okay, that was a good question, Ken. Thank you for that. But I hear a lot of horror stories again about like the industry of it all, like just the huge scope of it all, and And a lot of it, I think, boils down to, unfortunately, being underfunded.
Yeah.
And a lot of people slipping through the cracks that shouldn't slip through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Even so far as far as people who work in these institutions. And I've heard stories about it being very cold and institutionalized kind of place to be. I mean, maybe you guys can elaborate on that a little more.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about any of your stuff, like being in there, like any of your experiences with people, like in placements and?
I just don't know which one to talk about
That's
first.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's definitely not as perfect and good as everybody thinks it is. So like if you haven't like been in it or worked at it or heard from it from somebody who's actually been in it, I feel like you're not getting the full picture.
Yeah.
But there have been so many moments with different people where like I'm just gonna give like an example, I guess.
Yeah.
So I actually I had for a while was kind of like being ignored by the people who were like in custody of me because they kept trying to get me back with I just say ex-family.
You can say ex-family. Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know what else to call them. So
If you feel comfy with that, then that works.
my ex-family, and I didn't want, like, I did try for a little bit at first, but I didn't want to in the overall picture at the end. And for a while, they just kept trying to, like, force that. And, my ex-family was actually abusive. And, which also, it's funny because it brought me to the lock thing.
Talk about the locks
and it's funny because, like, I specifically remember one of these moments, I don't know how, but somebody called DCYF because I had bruises on my neck going to school. But, there was an investigation in the house, and there were locks on my door, and, they totally ignored them. Because I was locked in my room with no way to get out for a while.
And we see.
And they totally ignored them, and then it was just like a while of going back and forth with them, because like I had stated that I didn't want to go back with them, and they kept trying to force that, and then like I tried again because they wouldn't stop about it, and then they made me feel like I was going crazy and that I wasn't making a good choice, I guess. So it was a few years. Basically it was like a year or two that I went back and forth with them, and so then there was like this time where they wanted to have like this final meeting with my parents to see how it would go, and if it went well, then they'd like basically force me back with them. And if it didn't go well, then I didn't have to be with them anymore. And I thought it was kind of a in case you can agree. Wait, can I swear in this?
Sure. I've been actually actively trying not to.
Because I just thought it was kind of fucked up of how they did this. But like, they made me go into a room with the two of them, and I don't exactly remember all we talked about. And obviously, it did not end well because I'm no longer with them. But I was just, there were so many things that I was mad at with like DCYF and everything, and the years of just like fighting.
And feeling ignored.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of that fictionalized in like TV and movies and things like that. And I think, honestly, I think it's desensitized people who don't have that experience to like actually think like, oh, these things are actually happening. Like people are actually like suffering, essentially. Especially like I said, there's those 20% of kids who in the U.S. just age out of the system. and there's no assistance for those kinds of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, either of you can take this away too, but you know, those experiences are what kind of create you as a person. And like I said, I don't really have that inside experience of being in those institutions or being around that. But I think, again, I think it's just like kind of something that we're desensitized to. And for either of you, do you think that essentially, without, you know, kind of bashing the entire industry, do you think that when things like that happen, or when things aren't going as peachy keen, but I mean, thank goodness you guys found each other in the end, but
I was like, I went through like 12 to 13 years of trauma.
Yeah, but do you think so my question is, do you think that there is a dependable source, or do you think that you can count on the higher ups in the industry to can you count on them essentially when these things happen?
No.
Me personally, no.
That's terrible to hear.
Yeah.
It does suck to hear, but it's the truth. But like, yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So, I think what I've seen a lot of over the years, because like I have had literally hundreds of clients like over my time there, and they all had different DCYF workers. So like I have met a lot of DCYF workers, and I feel like there's several different categories, and I feel like this kind of falls into like, you know, people who do this work in general. There's people who really try and really care, but got super burned out, and now they hate everything. They hate their job. They're miserable.
This happens.
There's people who care a lot and they really try, but they're just super overworked, and they can't possibly do all the things that they want to do. And then there's people who just do not care and are there because it's a job.
Yeah. Essentially, it feels like almost like a number. It's so, and again, I said it's a very underfunded institution, and most of them are. And then you have this influx of humans that go in and out of these places, like you said, for years. And for the people who work there or the people in the higher up positions, it's kind of just like, all right, this is a number, this is a system that we're going to keep doing it the way we do.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like for me on the outside looking in.
And honestly, so much of it is just like complete luck of the draw, because like there's so much that depends on what DCYF worker you get. If you get a good DCYF worker, your life is going to be completely different if you have a bad one. Because like Kiara's last DCYF worker, Heather, we love her. Like
Shout out Heather.
She was really great. Kiara's DCYF worker before Heather was not.
Was not a Heather.
That was one of the people I had to fight with.
Yeah. No. And that's the thing, is it's like, it's such complete luck of the draw. And like, I actually want to go back slightly to what you were talking about how they kept trying to make you go back with them. So when like she switched to like being under the NAFI umbrella, and they kind of like started being her providers or whatever, the program that they had her in, like the whole goal of it was to like reunify and to build supports with wherever she'd be going next. Like it was supposed to be a transitional thing. That was the whole.
So a little
it was
personal.
Supposed to be a year in the foster.
Yeah.
So you think they were a little bit more personalized?
Well, not really. Because the thing is that they had it in their heads about like where she was going to be going back to.
Gotcha.
And so the program that she was in, there was completely space for like people who weren't the parents. And so we, like Diz and I were trying to say like, hey, can you work with us? Like, can you collaborate with us? Like, not give us money or anything, but we can just talk, like, because we want to keep being involved in her life, and we want to keep being involved with her after this placement. And they're like, no, you're not her parents. I'm like, but she hates her parents. She does not want to see or be returned to.
At that point, you get the child involved or the kid involved. I would think.
Yeah, they would think, but they didn't listen.
But
they didn't listen. That was the thing, is that they kept just saying, "Well, we have to try. That's what this program is." And I'm like, "Why do you have to try?" And it was just, it felt like the best possible example of how messed up it is that she was sitting there going, "I don't want to go back with them." She'd been saying it for literally years at this point. Like this was not new.
Sorry.
And go ahead.
I got taken out of my home around like 9 and 10. 9 or 10. Sometime around that. And like 10 or 11 I got put in NAFI or whatever, and it was like until 13 or 14 is when it took like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And the whole time they were
going
like
back and forth.
They were like, no, you got to be going back home. You got to be going home. Like, literally, I remember one of the first things you ever told me is that you never wanted to go back to them ever again. And I listened to you from there, and like years and years.
Terrified.
And honestly, that's one of the big key things is listening.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like that's something that we lack in these kinds of fields, in this kind of industries too. Like with nursing and even things along those lines. Even it's like, if you can actively listen, you will probably be one of the Heathers of the of that industry. You know what I mean? Like, it just really takes that extra step of being an active listener.
Yeah.
And it surprises me that they wouldn't listen to
Yeah.
the kids.
Nope.
Yeah.
But like,
They don't listen at all.
What?
It felt even worse because, like, I had told them that I went through this many years of abuse and I didn't want to go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And along with feeling like they didn't believe me, is that they tried to force me to go back many times.
Sometimes
they did.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
I got taken out.
Diz is commenting, also saying it was tough because the goal tends to be reunification, like you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That is the goal. You know, they try to get them back together, but if you're not listening to the kid, then you're doing not even half your job.
It's just, there's so much nuance to it, and it's like you could learn so much from just listening to the child. And it's like, I feel like so many times these care plans are made without anybody even talking to the kid.
Yeah.
Because it's like, literally, I knew within 5 minutes of meeting her that she never wanted to go back with them, and I've been hearing from people that she should be going back with them until that meeting that she talked about.
She was so mad.
Oh, Nova's actually making that sounds up in the comments in a really good way. Sometimes the workers get consumed by the traumas the folks they're helping with go through, and there's no mental health support for the workers either.
That is very true.
Very true. Very true. Like I said, it's underfunded, and you have a huge number of people going in and out of the system on a daily basis, and less people doing it.
Yeah.
Less people working. And
it's
in any kind of industry, like you said, you get burnout, you get those people who just don't care anymore, and then you get those Heathers. You get the ones who are just, doing what needs to be done and actively listening and creating a safe space for people, which is what we want in every industry.
Yeah.
But this one seems a little bit closer to the heart, I feel like if you are doing this, or if you're in the line of caring for humans or caring for people, you would imagine that, you use your heart more than your brain.
Yeah,
but in this industry, I think it's the opposite. It's more of like, I'm going to create this care plan that works best in my head for every generalized person instead of the individual.
Yeah, and I feel like so much of the time it's about like getting the paperwork done and everything and just getting the things done that you need to. And like, there's so many people out there who are doing this work and are really trying their best. Like, Heather is not the only Heather in the world, but they're just so rare. And it's just like, so another example that I can give is Kiara's care plans through NAFI. They would like get revised every once in a while, I think like every quarter or something like that, and they'd be presented to Diz and I, and we'd have to sign off on it. But like,
again, it's a care plan without listening to the kid.
So it would be something that they did without talking to any of the three of us, and then they would present it to us, and I'd be like, hey, so this part of her care plan literally talks about being reunified, but like that we've already covered that. Right. Like,
Kara's
she's
shaking
here.
her head. She's like, yeah.
She's here, and like stuff talking about like just all of these things that weren't even applicable anymore. And we're like, can we work with you to come up with like an actual care plan that actually has something to do with this? And it's just like, I just feel like the stakes are so high with this, and it just like, we treat this industry the same way like we friggin' treat the fast food industry sometimes. Like, it's just there's not enough seriousness in it. We act like it's just, these kids are just transactions and they just don't matter. And it's like, it's tough because I've been on multiple sides of it, and I've been on the side of doing this work and like coming home and just having so much, like you mentioned, just so much vicarious trauma of just like coming back and just crying and sobbing. And it's just the hard thing. I think really what it comes down to is there's not enough people who are doing this for the right reasons and actually have retained focus on why they did it and what they need to be doing. They're not getting paid enough.
Oh, definitely that.
They're not getting paid enough. There's not enough funding. Like, but you know what I would love to see? I would love to see DCYF in specific situations, not just giving stipends to the foster families, but also giving some stipends to the families.
Yeah.
Like, obviously not in a situation like Kiara's situation where she didn't
want
to go, like,
not in those situations.
Give them nothing.
I think we could challenge ourselves to create a program like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think that could be something we could do in the future. A program that somehow incentivizes the children who want to be reunited and the parent as well by giving them a percentage of funds.
Sometimes literally all they need is an apartment.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of alignment, and when things in your life align with your purpose, things just fall into place. And maybe they just need that kickstart, you know, as someone who may have not wanted to give up their child, or who wants to bring a child home to a you know, comfortable, clean home.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need a little head start.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case with a lot of people, a lot of Americans especially, because, for instance, pay rate. Like that, the pay rate has not gone up as much as, you know, expenses have gone up, especially now. This inflation thing is driving me crazy. Oh my gosh, the grocery stores, anxiety attack. But anyways, I think we've reached our hour marker for today, unfortunately. But I really want to give you guys, I just looked at the time and I was like, oh wow, it's been an hour already. I'm floored actually by this conversation. But I want to give you guys a moment to, one, maybe you can tell us, you know, because we talked about the bad, we talked about the good, but if people want to get involved, you know, what's one really good way to get involved and kind of like make the process a little bit easier?
So for me, my biggest recommendation, the two agencies that I really love the most doing this aren't, you know, it's not DCYF or any of their like partner agencies who work with them to like do placements. My two favorites, Foster Forward and Adoption Rhode Island. They're two different agencies here that do a lot of work with kids in foster care and adoptive care. Foster Forward has an entire like storefront in the it's the plaza that's got like Ocean State Job Lot
and
everything.
I've heard good things about Foster Forward.
Yeah, so they have this whole thing where like foster families can come in and get any sort of resources they need. Like Foster Forward, they had a mentoring program, which is how I met Kiara in the first place.
Oh, nice.
So like everything that I've ever done, like they've been there to support. Like honestly, Foster Forward, when she changed programs and like placements, they wouldn't let her call me for like literally a month. And we had been talking the day before, and she was like, okay, once I move, I'm going to call you. And I didn't hear from her for weeks. So I contacted Foster Forward because I didn't know who her DCYF worker was. And I was like, I don't know what to do. The kid that you matched me with, I have no idea what happened to her. Yeah. So like they called around and they found her, and they like advocated for me to get the phone number so I could talk to her. And like, they've been amazing.
Shout out to Foster Forward. That's amazing.
They like were responsible for Kiara's prom dress one year. It wasn't like your prom, but it was like it was a dress for something.
We were just talking we got into the prom talk a little bit. Oh my gosh.
So they're honestly, I would say if you want to know more, I would talk to them because they are they're just amazing people.
That's amazing because I literally, like, again, in my research, that's one of the names that kept popping up. And I've heard good things about them from friends previously, but it didn't kind of click until I started doing research on this topic, and I was like, oh yes, Foster Forward, because I was looking for local agencies. And yeah, I actually heard good things about that. But I'm going to also challenge you to leave that information in the comments later on if you can, or somewhere in the Tea with Taylor like Facebook page or something so that people can see that, because I think it's really important to have information be accessible. That's a really big part of it, you know, for people who want to be involved, for those good people out there who, you know, are saying, hey, I'm ready, what's the next step?
And people, honestly, like, y'all can just message me, random people, if you want to be like, hey, I saw this.
See, I frown upon that greatly. Do not contact me directly. I don't want to play secretary. However,
about this. You can talk to me about this.
Right? However, I can get you in touch with the right people.
Is there anything that you want to say?
Is there anything you want to leave the viewers with today, Kara?
Listen to the kids in foster
Follow
care.
me on TikTok.
Oh, snap.
That too. Yes. Here I am trying to be like, listen to the children.
And the children are saying, follow me on TikTok.
Follow me on TikTok.
What's your handle on TikTok?
It's at Kiara Foster with 2 eyes.
Okay. All right. Listen. Comment on the broadcast your name and see how many people follow you.
I can do that.
Okay. Gotcha.
So she doesn't have Facebook.
I only got Facebook.
Oh wow. See, I actually was just saying, like, I just learned how to use Twitter, kind of, sort of, but it's usually just Facebook or Instagram. That's it. And kind of like, I like Instagram more because it's just pictures. But Facebook it's awesome. You know, we're doing this on Facebook, so can't, you know.
Is that right?
Diz actually left Adoption Rhode Island and Foster Forward in the comments, so you guys can check that out.
Diz, who's being very active for being at work.
We love that. Oh!
Oh wait, no, Diz is at work. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like, ooh.
No. Jizz got out of work while we've been here. So
the next step with Team Taylor is putting myself on Spotify so people can listen to me at work. So, hey, whatever works. Thank you for watching and for listening.
Is this on Spotify?
This is not yet. So I'm going to post this to YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube right after we're done. But that's about it. Yeah, Kasha just posted it for you, actually. I see it. Kasha. What did I say? Kasha? Who's Kasha? Gosh,
I've met her many times.
I'm sure.
That's another name for her.
Maybe, we know you have multiple names. Yeah.
She remembers all of them.
When I watch this back at some point, I'm going to be like, was it just that once that I said that?
I think so.
I think so, but you never know. But I'm going to let you guys give you like your Friday evening. Sorry. It started in the afternoon-ish. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to give you back your Friday evening, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me, Taylor Neptune, on all the socials. T with Taylor on Instagram. Be back next Friday with a really good one for you, God willing. And again, I'm going to always tell you, make sure you're being good to yourselves. And even more so this week, I want to make sure to let everyone know, like I was mentioning a little earlier, just alignment is super, super, super important. Being in line with your purpose in life, being in line with, things start to fall in place. And you can take my word for it, I promise. A lot of times it seems like we kind of are just running around without an idea or a plan, or kind of hoping and praying and wishing for things to happen. And I think a lot of times we are so caught up in that moment that we tend to forget to look for the small things. Mm-hmm. And so again, look for the small things, and everything will be in alignment. And when it does, it will just feel right. Kind of like these two. And I had someone commenting.
I love the face.
I know, it's so good. But I had a few people. I had Ken Medlin also commenting earlier about his family and their history with adoption and things like that. And so when things are right, it will just align in such a right way. And I'm such an advocate and such a testimony of that being so. So again, that is a part of being good to yourselves. And thank you so much for watching. And that's that. Oh my gosh, this affection over here. What's going on?
Oh, you missed the face she made at the beginning of it.
So we got a lot to talk about, y'all. But thank you so much. And enjoy.